Hey everyone, so wanted to do a quick run through of our weekend price and flow analysis. I'm really just going to focus on NQ, ES, and gold, but definitely check out the full write-up to kind of see everything from the top 8 equities to the sectors and everything else. I like to do this just to stay in tune with the market and kind of help just feed my thought process going into next week. Um, but before diving in, just a reminder that Monday is a holiday, but the futures markets will be open for half day. I personally will probably just trade the first hour and then just see if there's anything there. But kind of quickly walking through price here. For Nasdaq, for the NQs, we are kind of in this upward trend or upward wedge. Inside day on Friday, and for me, it's, I really just want to see how price reacts if we can get up to this zone or if like this support level holds. And so that's something I'm going to be watching. For SPY, I mean, we made, or not, for the S&P or the ES, we did make new highs on Tuesday, so that is very bullish. We kind of pulled back, had a higher high, higher low, and an inside day, but this is up, right? And so I think there's definitely strength there. For gold, I mean, we're definitely up, made new highs, pulled back, but then buyers really stepped in, and then we closed above kind of the breakdown level for the week. So that seems really bullish still for me, super strong. VIX, we had that push up into 18, but now we're kind of cooling back down in the 15s here. For the Dow, we're kind of in this, like, we'll call it a bullish bear flag or potentially a channel situation. So really, I'm just seeing if the high or the lows break first to see what's happening here. But then when you look at the Russell did make new highs on Thursday, right? And so, um, we made a new high on ES on Tuesday, so that was great. And then on Wednesday, made a new high on gold, right? And then on Thursday, made a new high on Russell. And so that tells me that people are just kind of rotating into each of these indices and just kind of inching us higher, right? And so people are still putting money to work. And so looking at order flow and everything else, like yeah, there's some signal of bearishness, but I think people are still putting money there and trying to push us higher. So I think, if there's anything lagging right now, the NQs are lagging, so maybe we rotate back into that, or it could be the Dow. I'm not sure. But I think the fact that we've inched higher on the SPY, then gold, then Russell, it looks like traders are willing to put more money there. So that's something I'm keeping in mind and just kind of keeping an eye on. When it comes to options flow, for the Qs, volume was a bit more bearish towards the back half of the week. And then when you look at put and call, net and put and call premium, it's more bear, like more puts towards the end of the week. You see the red line up, up. So lots of people were betting to the downside, and price did kind of give us that downside a little bit. And then Friday we're kind of mixed. And so, a lot of this volume is zero DTE. The majority of it is. And so I can't really say too much for going into next week, but I think you see this kind of big put volume in the middle of the week, and we kind of sold up on Friday. That was a good tell right there. On the SPY front, so volume is bearish, but I would say, the premium is kind of mixed. I mean, yes, there's more calls, but it just looks, or there's more puts here. Calls are still just are falling. So I guess going into next week, it is a little bit bearish just from the flow perspective. Um, on gold, it is more, volume's been bullish. Lots of call and bullish bets kind of in the middle of the week or beginning of the week, and then a little bit mixed towards the end. And so for me, I'm not really, I still think there's a lot of strength in gold, especially if you look at the options volume there. So I'm just going to pay attention to that and see how we go. I think for SPY, it's a bit mixed, even though we had calls kind of fall. NQ looks a bit more bearish to me, so we'll just kind of see. For the Russell, volume is bullish. There's more call volume here on Friday, so maybe there's more upside there. Not really sure. So that's something I'm gonna continue to watch going into next week as well. Dow's pretty mixed. VIX, so we do have more calls picking up on Friday, so that signals potentially more upside on the VIX, or at least people are betting that way. So we'll just kind of see what that looks like. And then quickly on the order flow front. So here is the ATAS X, which I'm still playing with, and I really do like it. Just a little bit of stability issues since it's in beta for Mac users. Um, I guess the interesting thing for me on NQ, so I like to compare the NQ and the QQQ, is that when you look at CBD, they've been kind of flipped. So it's CBD is green on the NQ, but then slight red on Qs, and on Friday, red on the NQ, but then green on the ETF. And it's interesting that there's more kind of buying imbalance pressure here on the Qs versus not so much here on the NQ, but there's a lot more selling kind of imbalance pressure there. And so for me, it's like, well, NQ is meant to be the futures, right? And so this looks more bearish, right? Especially with the more of this bearish imbalance absorption. And so I do wonder if we'll kind of I wonder which is going to lead next week. Is it going to be the Qs or are they going to be the NQs? And so I'll be watching that and just seeing if we do start to get agreement here. What does that look like going into Tuesday, for instance? So definitely watching that. On the ES, it's more, you had this nice green kind of imbalance. So it looks like really strong bullishness there. Same thing on the SPY, right? So it's not really contradicting as far as the order flow. Um, so that's something I'm watching. And then, like SPY, lots of green on the CBD. So that's super bullish. Signals bullishness there. And also CBD was mostly green on the ES. We did kind of end a little bit red on Friday. And so we'll just kind of see if that plays out. But this looks more bullish to me than anything else. And then for gold, um, we broke through this kind of selling imbalance, pushed through that, kind of pushed back up. CBD super green on Thursday and then ended kind of mixed. It went really deep red on Friday, but then ended pretty close to neutral. Um, a little bit bearish, but close to neutral there. But then when you look at GLD, I mean, we had this big um, like buying imbalance that kind of held us up and we closed near there. But then CBD is super down, like the most it's been down for a long time, since October, right? And so for me, I'm just trying to see, if the ETF will lead us down or not, just given that big kind of selling in the CBD there. And so I'll just kind of watch and see how that kind of pans out. But I think going into next week, I am looking for where we're going to rotate into next. And so it looks like maybe the NQs could be it, since again we inched higher on the ES, inched higher on gold, inch, and then um, I'm not showing it here, but we inched higher on the Russell. And so it either could be we push higher on the Dow, and that could happen, or the NQ. Um, Looking at the charts, maybe Dow would be it. So we'll just kind of see. I think for me, like Monday, I'm gonna play both sides, and then we'll just see how Monday ends, and I think that'll set the tone for Tuesday and the rest of the week. Obviously, there's a bunch of stuff happening with Greenland, and there's some tariff stuff that the courts are meant to kind of rule on or give an opinion on next week, so that could offer some volatility. I think there's some earnings, and then there's jobless claims, PCE, and all that stuff. So, there could be a lot of stuff that could offer some movement. So we'll see how we go. But yeah, just wanted to offer that. If you want to see more of the details, definitely check out the weekly analysis when I share it out. And yeah, thanks for hanging out. Good luck and don't get caught.